everyone is born already basically just beautiful. So I don't think there's a reason to rate people and bring them down I don't like the bringing down aspect of it.
Well, I don't think it necessarily brings people down, but
I feel like it could.
It could.
Yeah.
I agree with you, actually. I think that everybody can be beautiful, but I think it would be naive to say that we're all equally attractive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Great.
The attractive aspect.
So I think what we're getting into is sexual marketplace value. So I have some interesting takes on this. Maybe I can share them at this point. So I think that there's a few different ways that we can approach this, and I think it's generally done with not a lot of nuance. I think that everybody kind of has what I call a normalized sexual marketplace value, which is sort of like, according to the standards of the culture in which you live, how well do you measure up on the most important dimensions to the opposite sex? So a number of the things that you've brought up today are like height. This guy led with his socioeconomic status. He makes $200,000 a year. So these are things that I think would be on normalized sexual marketplace value for men. For women, it would be their physical appearance, their age, things like that. But no one really knows what their sexual marketplace value is, because all transactions are based on perceived sexual marketplace value. Like, I got a thing for cute nerds. That's my thing. And that's not necessarily what the culture tells me women are supposed to look like in terms of their archetypal beauty. But that's something that's really interesting and attractive to me. And you never really know until you engage a person how they perceive you in terms of your general attractiveness. Just because you don't accord with the socialized, normalized sexual marketplace value doesn't mean that you can't be highly attractive. Or conversely, just because you are 6'4" and you make a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be very attractive to certain women, right?
Yeah.
But the kicker is that you really only know your sexual marketplace value when you get into a relationship. So it's like, I knew somebody that I was very close to. She was an artist, and she had never sold a painting before. And she started by offering her paintings for $100,000, which, God bless her, I love the courage with that, but it just wasn't really realistic that someone was going to buy a piece of art for $100,000 from an unknown artist. It was only when she began to bring down that price that we got to see what that painting was actually worth. And that only occurred because somebody was willing to pay X amount for it. Until then, the actual price or the value of that painting was kind of like just pure potential. We only really realize worth in the moment of transaction, which can only occur between two individuals.
So you're saying, okay, so then let's say the girl gets into a relationship, then how do you determine her SMV from the guy's status?
Yes. So I think that you can kind of, in this framework, determine a woman's sexual marketplace value by the normalized sexual marketplace value of the men who are willing to get into a relationship with her. And you can determine a man's male sexual marketplace value by the normalized sexual marketplace value of the women he is able to sleep with.
Okay, what if she's gay? How do you determine her SMV?
I don't know. I guess you could do it. I think most of these concepts apply also to gay relationships.
But I don't know if lesbians are hypergamous.
They are really big on commitment. There's an old joke about what does a lesbian bring to a second date, and it's a trailer because she's moving in. So there's takes all kinds, but there is my understanding, a big bent in lesbian relationships towards commitment.
Okay. I just feel like in high schools and colleges, like people kind of date people at their school. They're probably like in a similar income range.
Sure.
So I don't know how you would determine like the SMV of like a college sophomore who's dating another college sophomore who are both kind of an equal amount of college debt. And you wouldn't say she has low SMV because she's dating a guy in debt and not getting scooped up by a millionaire, right? So doesn't that kind of make your definition of SMV kind of irrelevant to most dating instances?
No, because I think it's based on the context in which you exist. So we can say that people might have a normalized sexual marketplace value for the culture at large, but maybe the culture that and the context that matters most to you is your campus. Or maybe it's even just like the people in your homeroom class. Like there's all kinds of hierarchies within social systems as soon as more than two people start to relate to each other.
Okay, so then you would then judge it based off like, okay, is that guy an athlete? Is he like doing well, or like what would be
in high school?
metrics?
Yeah, that's the stereotypical one. It's like who is the big man on campus is the quarterback, right?
Sure.
Now, does this guy, can he compete with somebody who's 35, makes $1 million a year? Well, it just depends on what the woman is looking for. You know, she might be so involved in that context that she will actually choose the quarterback over somebody who makes, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Mm-hmm. I think it really depends on the context.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, and one more thing, and I think this is why this is great advice for guys, especially maybe the shorter kings out there, 5'7", is find a context in which you can shine. Like, you can be a contextual alpha. I know you might not love that term, but you can definitely have a higher sexual marketplace value in certain contexts versus others.